are not learning.
How do they do it in the traditional? Well, they do tests and stuff like that. We don't
For the
have,
learning, right?
Yeah, we don't have that. So I don't know how they.
Okay, so if I were sitting in a team meeting as the observer, and I were watching a team that was highly engaged and learning lots, what would that look like and sound like to you?
Everyone talking, maybe everyone listening. Ooh, it would fall under all the speaking and listening skills.
Yeah.
I like that. There's not that many. Not that one. I'm just gonna look and see which ones would actually fall under ours. No. We could. What if it's the amount of time someone gives their opinion? Because like a student, like if I'm not engaged, then I'm not going to be wanting to voice my voice and like give my opinion on something.
Okay.
And so like how often they allow that to happen.
And it would need to. So I would expect them to see expressing their own ideas clearly and persuasively.
Mm-hmm.
That they are, and that they're probably integrating in information that supports their, like, so I'm making an inference. I'm not just spouting an opinion. Like, I've learned something about the topic we're talking about, and I can share a perspective in a way that shows I've been learning about the subject. Mm-hmm. Not that I just am like, well, I love the new bow market, and it's so pretty, and I'm not really talking substantially about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would expect in your groups, like someone might cite something about something they read about disabilities, or so that people are drawing from information
That the teacher provided them with.
that the teacher could have provided them with, yes, or gave them, yes. But that it had evidence to back it up to move towards the team's goal.
So we could just, it's whenever, like that'd be one of our mental cues. It's whenever someone does, like cites it with some evidence.
Yep.
Substantial evidence. Okay. I like that. Because it, like for mine, it could be like, I think we should do a dance marathon because it's fun. That would not be substantial. But if I said, I think we should do a dance marathon because it helped. I mean, it worked at the University of Iowa and it raised a bunch of money. That would be substantial.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'd be able to easily decipher that.
I think we would see lots of evidence one way or the other on that.
Okay. So that would be...
And to me, that would also be a place that I would expect a teacher to intervene.
Yeah.
Like if we're all kind of going, well, we don't know which nonprofit to pick. I mean, we don't know anything about what they do with ACEs, or it's like, so then I would expect if the students couldn't get to it, that the teacher lead would say, so I'm wondering if we might need to do a little bit of research before we can make this decision.
So that would that, when would
so
that
I feel
go
like
under?
that would be up into our...
Critical thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
And kind of back to that whole idea when we started this about just your notion of incorporation. Or, yeah. All right. Is there anything else we would see as artifacts or know about that we would could have access to that would tell us that a team is learning, that students are learning?
Through weight rooms?
Yeah,
maybe.
right.
And I think Sean said that he can see how long people spend on the weight rooms, can he?
Yep.
So we could just measure that for the specific projects, how often the kids actually look into the weight room. But wouldn't it be different? I guess it's still implementing learning if teachers put more stuff in it. That makes, yeah.
Well, and I think another way we might now this is where the line starts to get a little fuzzy about whose work it is. Like in the sense of in what ways would the teacher be supporting the team and being engaged?
By providing like resources so they're able to discuss stuff during the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens if that's the student lead's role?
Then the teacher's not doing their job. No. Wait.
No, there's no right or wrong answer to this question. I'm just saying that's
From like the projects that you see, do the leads usually put in the stuff in the weight room, or is it usually the teachers?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm just thinking about like the student leads that I've been supporting have been doing a lot of learning around how to build meetings that engage my team. How can I be effective in some of those things? And so I'm wondering at what point is that not well, no, I still consider that the teacher's responsibility. Like, if I were sitting in a situation where I saw a team, let's say, that had 8 members, 6 of them didn't talk in the meeting. It was basically a conversation between the lead and the teacher. I would hope the teacher would be surfacing some of that with the student lead.
What do you mean by surfacing it?
Well, like if I said to you, Caleb, just hypothetically, if I were sitting there and I said, so I noticed today, like that you and I reflected after the meeting, if I were your teacher lead, and I said, so I noticed today that we didn't have very many voices in the conversation. What do you think we could do next time?
So how often like the teacher would support the lead? So that would, what construct is that actually going under? How often it would be?
I think it's going to be that collaboration, possibly, and that non-hierarchical leadership.
What if, so it's how often, so the teacher I think should be the one that's not leading, they should just be supporting the lead.
Okay. So that's a really good place to start, actually, because I think that really gets to your teacher-led versus student-led. And then it might be interesting that once we capture some of that, like what are we seeing in the meeting, maybe we also ask those student leads, like what work do you do with your teacher lead to support you in getting ready for meetings or to move the project? Or we could find out from their side on a couple interview questions.
Like,
yeah, like
the teachers helping outside the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So that student lead can lead.
We should do it, and we could just make it quantitative data, and just make it simple. How many hours or how much time does the teacher outside of meetings help you individually lead your team?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that idea. So that could be the way we measure collaboration.
Yeah. But I think that's also so it's like that we know that's part of the learning for students.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of the learning here at Big, in these universal constructs, it's all about engagement with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how do we do that in productive ways, which is respectful collaboration that moves towards a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to support students in being able to do that work. And that would be what I would be teaching or supporting, so that you could get up and feel confident in leading.
Mm-hmm.
Would be how I would see that.
So how would we measure?
I think we can do it with a survey.
Just
I
a
mean, just
survey?
finding out to start with, like, do they meet with their lead outside? Like you said, how often do they meet? What kind of things do they do?
And we can just like decipher it when we get the data.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. And we don't want to get flooded with too much data, so it should be like 3 questions or
Oh,
something
yes.
like that.
Very short. Plus, it would be only the projects that we randomly sample.
So what if we, what happens if we do, like, with the random sample, we end up getting multiple of the same projects, but then we only have a few of them. I guess it really wouldn't affect the team lead, right?
Shouldn't.
Okay. As long as we don't randomly select the same one for all 20 of them, I would redraw that.
All right, so I'm going to need to hop on a video conference here in a few minutes. So let's think about where we're going to go next with this. So we talked about that we might want to try this before we did the whole test on can we find what we're looking for in what we're thinking about here.
Through doing that, could we just, each of us do just randomly, it doesn't even matter what teaching, just whenever you're available the first week we get back, both of us just do 2 or 3 meetings.
Yeah.
Then we can just sit back down next. Actually, I probably, just trying to think of when I'm able to meet. I'm coaching Special Olympics when I get back the week of the 9th, I think. So maybe, when are you available? Is it like this time available for you?
Just depends on the day and the week, so
Okay.
we'll find time.
Okay.
Though,
So we'll maybe we'll the first week we'll be back, do the 3 meetings or whatever, and then come back, see if we can decipher the data, and then maybe like we'll be able to maybe see what's easier to figure out for mental cues and stuff. So then we can like decipher what we're gonna actually like judge on, like how to decipher the data maybe.
Okay, so do you think that's going to bias us now that I'm thinking about this?
That what? Oh, that we're trying it first. Should we not even do the initial test?
Maybe we should just take the data, take the random sampling, figure out, take the data, then we can come back to our themes and maybe just try coding for it and see what we learned.
With all the data.
Yeah, with all the data.
I think that'd work. That'd be probably a long day of
Yeah, well,
deciphering, but I
coding
think
is somebody who's done that in a dissertation in a research project. Yes, coding does take a while. Theme analysis, biggest part of the study. So
I'm thinking that we should probably figure out how many we want to actually study in the time frame that we have. I would assume we're going to start probably the week after, or when do you want to start this?
seems like starting the week after, starting the week of break after break would make sense. So what's the random? How many are we talking about?
So, Sean showed me the random statistic. Oh, what was it? Right number. I don't remember what he told me the site was. Maybe that will do.